Think about the person you love most in the world. Now realize this: you have never actually touched them. In fact, you have never touched anything in your entire life, which raises a pretty terrifying question right off the bat. If you aren't actually touching the floor beneath you right now, why haven't you fallen straight through it to the center of the earth? Hold on to that, because the answer might give you a mild existential crisis. But to understand why you aren't currently plummeting through the Earth's crust, we first have to ask what is actually happening when your hand gets dangerously close to another object. Now, you're probably pressing your thumb and index finger together right now, thinking, buddy, I can literally feel my skin touching right now, you absolute hack. I get it. It's hard to believe. Your brain is lying to you. But before I tell you what happens when two objects get close, we first have to figure out what those objects are actually made of. Everything you interact with is made of atoms, and atoms are fundamentally empty space. If the center of an atom was a marble sitting on the 50-yard line of a football stadium, its electrons would be tiny gnats buzzing around the seats. Everything in between is just pure nothingness. It is the absolute subtle reality of the universe. So, if you are 99.999% empty space and the wall next to you is 99.999% empty space, why don't your atoms just pass right through each other like ghosts? And wait, if you aren't passing through things, what exactly is that physical sensation you feel when you pet a dog or say, stub your toe in the dark? Well, the reason you don't pass right through things comes down to those gnats, the electrons. Electrons have a negative charge, and just like two negative ends of a magnet, when they get close, they violently repel each other. Forcing the electrons in your hand to touch the electrons in a wall is kind of like forcing an iPhone user to accept an Android user's green text bubble. It is a fundamental clash of the universe, and the iPhone user will instantly put up a massive, aggressively repulsive force field to keep you away. So, if you are just bouncing off a force field, what is that physical sensation you're feeling? You see, when those electron force fields clash, the electromagnetic repulsion physically pushes on the nerve endings in your skin. Your nerves send a frantic electrical signal to your brain, and your brain translates that signal into the sensation we call touch. You aren't feeling the object itself, you are feeling the invisible electromagnetic repulsion between you and the object. Which brings us back to our terrifying question from the beginning. If you are just a collection of empty space and repulsive force fields, why don't you fall through the floor? Gravity is pulling you down toward the Earth's core with an immense amount of power. But the electromagnetic force pushing your electrons apart from the floor's electrons, that force is roughly a billion times stronger than gravity. Gravity is trying to pull you down, but the atoms in your shoes are screaming, pushing back against the floor so hard that gravity simply cannot win. Because of this, you are literally hovering about 100 millionth of a centimeter above your chair right now, just naturally levitating. So next time you go in for a romantic kiss, remember, you're not showing affection. You're just aggressively mashing your force fields together. Stay curious, and I'll see you in the next one.